Our CEO level sponsors, Care First, D3, Davis Strategic, Nautilus Solar, PAC 14, Pohanka Automotive Group of Salisbury, Warwick Community College. Our chairman level sponsors, Avery Hall, Delmarva Power, Maryland Broadband Cooperative, M&T Bank, Purdue Farms, Taylor Bank, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, Tidal Health, the Voice Radio Network. Our board level sponsors, ABC, the Associated Builders and Contractors of Chesapeake Shores, Bancroft Construction, Chesapeake Healthcare, Chesapeake Utilities, BBSI, the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel, Delmarva Veteran Builders, the Insurance Market, Hebron Savings Bank, Gillis Gilkerson, Landmark Insurance and Financial Group, Mount Air Farms, SCORE, Talkie Communications, Tri-County Council of the Lower Eastern Shore, W.R. McCain and Associates, and our supporter level sponsors, Allen and Sharif, Bank of America, Chop Tank Electric Cooperative, Brew River Restaurant, David A. Bramble Construction, Davis Bowen and Friedel, Delmarva Chicken Association, Effective, a Comcast company, Farm Credit, Jolly Care Residential Services, the Maryland Tourism Coalition, Minuteman Press, Salisbury Wicomico Economic Development, NAI Coastal, State Farm Insurance, SVN Miller Commercial, U.S. Wind, and Truist. How about a round of applause for those great sponsors? And again, we are so proud and honored to call Salisbury University the home of the economic forecast. And in case you haven't met or haven't seen or spoken to the unbelievable leader at this university, she's going to welcome all of you to her campus. And it's an honor for me to introduce Dr. Carolyn LaPrey, President of Salisbury University.
Good morning, everybody. What a beautiful day we have planned for you today. I know that there's going to be a lot of fabulous things going on, and it is my absolute pleasure, as it has been for the past several years, to welcome you to Salisbury University for the annual Southern Delmarva Economic Forecast, something I know many people look forward to. We are thrilled to continue to be able to host this event where community leaders from across various industries come together to explore innovative ways to strengthen and grow our regional economy, something that is so critically important to the work that each and every one of us does. And each year, it is an honor to see so many engaged individuals dedicated to improving our community's future come together in this way. With the ever-changing landscape of our world nationally, statewide, and locally, there is a lot to consider when we think about what our path forward is. Today, we will be fortunate to hear from leading economists and business leaders who will provide insights into both the great strides we've made as well as the challenges that we are all still facing. And hopefully, we'll all come away with some ideas about how we might address those challenges. Their perspectives will continue to undoubtedly guide our work as we continue to build a stronger and more resilient economy in the Delmarva region. As a statewide regional university, a regional comprehensive university, Salisbury University is proud to be a part of this vibrant community. And there is no better place than SU to host and foster these conversations, and that's because our mission extends beyond just educating our students within these walls. We love the fact that our students are out there in the community working and doing great things with all of you, and we hope that that is something that we continue to do in great ways. We are deeply committed to supporting and collaborating with the businesses and organizations that call this region home. Our role as a university is to be a catalyst for growth, not only through academic excellence, but by actively contributing to the economic and cultural development of the area. And whether that is through academic partnerships, workforce development, or engaging with local businesses, we are always striving to deepen our connection to the Delmarva community. One exciting example of our commitment to the community growth is SURGE, which is a new program. We're calling it Salisbury University's Rural Growth and Entrepreneurship Program, which is designed specifically for minority and veteran-owned businesses. And this is a new initiative that we wish to launch, where we will prioritize and advocate for resources to continue to grow this kind of a program. SURGE aims to enhance our role as a catalyst for business innovation and economic growth right here on the Eastern Shore, and we look forward to continuing to advocate for this for statewide support. By fostering partnerships and providing critical resources, we believe that we can help drive sustainable growth and ensure that our region remains competitive in a rapidly changing global economy. We are also excited, in terms of community building, to talk a little bit about the progress we're making towards a long-held dream, something that I hope many of you have already heard about, the construction of a performing arts center right in downtown Salisbury. Yeah, I'll clap for that as well. This has been such a fabulous thing to be able to work on, and SU is so proud to be able to continue to move this initiative forward, because we believe that this is not just a cultural and academic project, it's an economic one. The center will not only provide a venue for arts and entertainment and obviously a place for our students to do fantastic work, but it also will stimulate growth in our downtown area, creating jobs and supporting local businesses. Just the construction alone is expected to inject hundreds of millions of dollars into our regional economy. And we're very, very proud to continue to do this and many, many more things. These projects are just two examples of how Salisbury University is actively working to support our region in partnership with so many of you. We are committed to fostering innovation, strengthening our local businesses, and creating opportunities for sustainable growth. And as we continue to collaborate with our community partners, we believe we will overcome all of our challenges and build an even brighter future for the entire Delmarva region. So I will end by saying that I am confident that today's discussions will provide valuable insights and strategies as we work together to all move forward. So thank you again for coming, for being here today, for your ongoing commitment to the growth and success of our region. I wish you all a wonderful and productive day ahead. Thank you so much for being here with us at Salisbury University. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. LaPrey. It gives me great pleasure to bring up our moderator for today's program. He is the chair of the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, unbelievable community partner in his daytime job at Mount Air Farms. Please welcome Zach Evans.
I'm going to adjust that because you're going to have to listen to me for a while. All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. It doesn't feel like it's been a year since we last gathered, but I'm really excited to see some familiar faces. It is truly an honor to serve as the chair of the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. We have such an amazing, dedicated staff and such a wonderful team of business leaders who volunteer their time and services. So if you could, please join me in giving them a round of applause. It's a lot of work to put on an event like this. Not just the day of, we've got a wonderful team here at SU helping us with that, but for months and throughout the entire year, we brainstorm on ways to really add value to this event. So I think we have an exciting slate of panels set up for you today. Before we jump into that, just some housekeeping things. We are going to try to stay on schedule. We've got a lot of folks who want to share a lot of information. So I'm going to do my best to ensure that we maximize your experience here today. We also want this to be an opportunity for engagement from the audience. So there will be a chance to ask questions at the end of each panel. I will go ahead and prompt you when the time arrives for that. If we keep things moving expeditiously, then we can ensure you've got a chance to engage with everybody. The last thing I wanted to say is, while I see a lot of familiar faces, there's a lot of new faces as well. So, just to wake everybody up, can you show us your hand if this is your first time here at this event this year? Bill, look at all those new hands. That means we're doing something right. Now, keep those hands up. Have you been here, if you've been here 3 or more times, raise your hand. 5 times, raise your hand. This is 37 years. If you've been coming for 37 years, keep your hand up. All right, there we go. All right, so we're going to have some fun. Our first panel of the day is going to be our Southern Delmarva Economic Development Director's regional updates. And so this is a packed panel, which means we've got a lot to get through. So I would like to start welcoming up our panel members, if that's okay. I'll announce you as you're ordered in the program, but you can start making your way up here. So we're going to have David Rying joining us. He's the Executive Director of the Salisbury Wicomico Economic Development. We're going to have Melanie Pursel. She's the Director of the Office of Tourism and Economic Development at Maryland's Coast, Worcester County. We're going to have Susan Banks. She's our Director from Dorchester County Economic Development. Danny Thompson, the Executive Director of Somerset County Economic Development. William Pfaff, the Executive Director of Sussex County Economic Development in Delaware, and Leander Pambid, the Accomack County Deputy Accomack Deputy County Administrator for Community and Economic Development. We've also got Linda Parkowski, the Executive Director from Kent County, Delaware Economic Partnership. I think that's everyone. And we've all made our way to the stage. So let's give a quick round of applause for all of these folks. My folder, I think, may be with you, sir. Okay. It's all right. At least I'm paying attention. Thank you. All right, so we're going to jump right into things, folks. And I believe you've all seen these questions beforehand, so no major surprises, I hope. But we're just going to ask you to talk about what you know and share some updates from the regions and the communities that you represent. So this is a question for all of you, and we'll kind of go in order. Just keep in mind that we are being conscientious of time. In your view, how will the wholesale leadership change in the United States Congress and the White House potentially impact any federal grant funds that your jurisdiction receives currently or maybe was hoping to receive? So big administration change. What do you think that does for any potential federal funds for you, Dave?
I thought you were starting on that.
No, we're going to start here.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'm not familiar with the federal funds that we're getting on a countywide basis. From an economic development standpoint, you look at the funds that we've had committed right now toward the Civic Center upgrade, toward the runway extension at the airport, toward revenue guarantee program for a new commercial air service, then those things are kind of signed, budgeted from a previous fiscal year. So I would think they would still be viable going forward. Certainly, there's a lot of uncertainty going forward on additional grant opportunities at the federal government. We simply don't know. And then when you can kind of combine that at the state level, it's a very uncertain environment going forward.
Okay, thank you. Melanie.
I think you're going to hear the word uncertain quite a bit. So, yeah, and even this morning when I was, listening, talking about some of the nonprofits, I think they're going to be deeply affected by some of the federal funding that we have in our communities. But some of the projects that we have in terms of our infrastructure projects, I know I talked with our Public Works Director specifically with the county. There is some concern about, the tariffs that are supposedly going to be implemented in terms of supply chain and the cost of goods to do the projects that we have in the queue, as well as the time and how long it's going to take to get some of those things done. Also, thinking about the, this Office of Efficiency, government efficiency, that could be in our favor to kind of get some of that red tape out of the way, maybe to improve some of the processes in terms of the grants and how fast they move to get our projects completed. But yeah, I do think that there's a level of uncertainty. I think that there's opportunity, but it's time will tell, I guess. So thank you.
Yeah. You got to wrestle it out of there. It's the first challenge.
Sorry. Yeah, so this is pure speculation. If we base it off of Trump's first term, there was a strong emphasis on workforce, also rural job creation, manufacturing. I also have it listed down here, the Department of Government Efficiency. I think that that could also give us cuts too, right? So if we're going to become more efficient, we might have some cuts. One thing personally that I'll be watching is FEMA. Last year, 56% of counties in the nation had a declared emergency. There were 28 separate billion-dollar disasters, and we know how 24 went. So for me personally, I'm a worrier. I try not to be, but I'm a what-if kind of girl or mom or whatever. So that is on the back of my mind, what if? And I'm in Dorchester County, we flood. So those are my kind of worries and hopes.
Thank you, Susan. Danny?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Zach Evans, Media Productions. That's your new.
Yeah.
That's your new title. Thank you. So Somerset County is not unlike Dorchester. We do have some flooding issues. So I would echo that. I will say, when I first read the question, I was like, I can't believe that Bill is throwing us into politics. Right, Dave? I was like, I'm not even going to answer that question. But I'll say this. I can probably say for most people, we adapt, right? We adapt no matter who. Things change. And if you want stability, don't be an economic development director because it's going to change. But anyway, I do think there's going to be some new opportunities. Some things that you may have liked, we may be done away with. Some things we didn't like, you'll have some opportunity for change. So I am looking forward to the next time. I was the DOGE. I always get the government efficiency things messed up. But the DOGE is an opportunity, I think, to streamline things. So I look forward to, I think it will cut red tape. I don't think it'll be as hard on the employers. I think you're going to see more on the government downside, right? So I think it actually could be a positive. I will say, and I don't know if Greg is here, Greg Padgham, Tri-County Council. Thank you, Greg. His hand's in the back. I did see your email, even though I didn't respond to it, that Alma from the EDA is retiring at the end of the year. So I'm probably a little bit more anxious to see who the replacement is because EDA has been really a good partner for, I think, all of us across this thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Our friends in Delaware.
Good morning. My name is Bill Pfaff. I'm the Director of Economic Development for Sussex County. The answer to this question, I think, historically, change is all, it brings new policies and new opportunities as we go down the line. I think in Delaware, we pretty much have sort of like that perfect storm. We're getting a new governor. We're getting new federal people. On the federal level, we're getting a new president. So I think it's going to take us about 6 to 8 months to sort of figure out what everybody's doing and what opportunities are out there. I will piggyback a little bit off of EDA. Quite honestly, I hope the president straightens out EDA. We have, over time, submitted applications to EDA to help areas in our county, and we constantly get turned down. And it's a lot of work. And you don't know why you get turned down. So EDA, Economic Development Administration, some people know what EDA is, some people don't. But from our standpoint, we've not been able to access any funding through EDA. So my goal is they begin to streamline the federal government. I hope they also streamline regulations, because from a business standpoint, I think we regulate businesses too much, government does, and I think it prevents them from moving forward. And it ends up costing businesses money.
Thank you. And Lee, it wouldn't be Delmarva if we didn't hear from our friends in Virginia.
That's right. Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Lee Pambid. I'm the Deputy County Administrator for Community and Economic Development, Accomack County. And I honestly don't know what to expect. I feel like that we're really in uncharted territory given the president-elect's transactional leadership style, but then also we haven't had a president who hasn't served consecutive terms since Grover Cleveland. That's probably a name you didn't expect to hear this morning. But I think that our established role in the national defense and our competition in space with China will hopefully motivate the federal government to continue looking on Virginia favorably, and more specifically the Eastern Shore and Accomack County. Danny spoke about stability. And our legislators didn't change locally, so the incumbents, Jen Kiggins, who is a Republican, and Senator Tim Kaine, who is a Democrat, they both won, and we expect them to continue their support of the Eastern Shore as they have been throughout their terms. We continue to receive funding, both applied for and what they have brought to us in earmarks. In terms of the state, our incumbent Republican legislative delegation also won, and of course they're very supportive of the Eastern Shore. One of the things that we do want to watch out for is the fact that actually Kamala Harris carried Virginia by 5 points, but by and large, when you look at the number of localities that voted for the president-elect, it's a majority in that regard. So we feel like that things are pretty stable with regards to our representation, and we hope that they will continue to carry us. One of the things that I did want to mention as I was kind of researching this question was that the Brookings Institute actually published an article on this exact topic. What is the election's impact going to be on funding, on the localities, especially the Infrastructure and Investment and Jobs Act. So, of course, that was carried through in Biden's term, but there still are 2 years left and $294 billion left to award. So there's still plenty out there for us to work with. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. And Linda from Kent County, Delaware.
Thank you. For anybody who doesn't know, Kent County's the middle county. We only have 3 of us, and we're the middle one. We butt right up to Bill in Sussex County. I think this question, when I first saw it, I thought, why are they asking that? And then when I really drilled down, it became relevant. I can give you an example right now. We were going to apply for an EDA grant, which is a lot of work, as Bill says, and you put all this work in and you lose, and you have no idea why you lost. So we were going to apply for it in January. Our congressional delegation said, get all your apps in now, because they don't know what's going to happen at a federal level. So there's EPA grants, there's EDA grants, and so we're working diligently to get in, so we're in the queue before efficiencies or anything else might happen. So that's all I have to say. In case you have an app you're thinking about, if you're crazy enough to do an EDA grant, you better go for it now.
Danny, do you have a comment?
Yeah, just one, and I neglected, we have a new U.S. Senator. Senator Ben Cardin, stepped down, so, I think it'd be prudent for all of us to work with U.S. Senator Hasselbrooks, and so I just wanted to mention that. I forgot, sorry.
Yeah, and there's some new federal representation in Delaware as well. Not completely new faces, but faces in new roles, right? So you sort of posed this question back to me as a moderator. Why did we ask this? And it's because you guys have the best set of crystal balls in the room, right? But the truth is, the reason we asked is because we don't always make the connections locally to some of these changes at the highest level. And you've shared with us a lot of things that I think will resonate with the folks in the room. You talked about uncertainty. You also talked about potential opportunity for increased efficiency, talked about stability, lack thereof, or maybe the need for more. But what I took away was adaptability, right? Doesn't matter who is elected at the highest level, doesn't matter who's elected regionally or locally. You all have a job to do regardless, and you adapt and you overcome. So that's why we throw that question on you, because we know you're well-versed to answer it. And we're going to jump into one that I think is something you deal with a little more every day in your respective roles. So this is for everyone, and we're going to start at the opposite end of the table, Dave, so you got time to work on it, and everyone else takes your answers. How did the tourism sector in your respective jurisdiction compare 2024 versus 2023? What did you see in your community? And I know we don't think of all of our communities as relying on tourism, but you're going to share with us that it impacts everyone, right, Linda?
It does impact everyone, and one of my former roles was Director of Tourism for the state, so I'm a little bit versed in this subject. So, we had a game changer happen in Kent County in 2017. We opened up the first all-turf sports facility called DE Turf, and it draws people from 52 states. They actually fly into Bill's Airport. They fly into Dover to play at this facility. It operates 45 weekends a year, and it was truly built to be an economic development generator. It was not built to be a for-profit facility, and it took occupancy in Kent County from 52% up to 80-some%. So, and the restaurants have all expanded. It has done its job. And so 2024 is even better. The state did a really good thing. They put together a state tourism grant for infrastructure. And DE Turf applied for that and got a $3.2 million grant. What that's going to allow them to do is increase their stadium seating, and also their facilities for locker rooms, press boxes. So now they do get NCAA events, but they will be able to increase those NCAA events. So I'm really proud of that winner that we have in Central Delaware.
Thank you so much for sharing. Lee?
Thank you. I'd first like to thank the two major chambers of commerce on the Eastern Shore of Virginia, the Eastern Shore of Virginia Chamber of Commerce with Robert Sabatini, and the Chincoteague Island Chamber of Commerce and then that's Joanne Moore and Evelyn Shotwell. Tourism is not handled by the county. It's typically the chambers take the lead on that. But it is alive and well on the Eastern Shore of Virginia, reaching or exceeding pre-pandemic levels. Chincoteague Island is by far the most popular tourism destination on the Eastern Shore and in Accomack. They had a 19.3% increase over last year, and again, it was the most visited place in the county of Accomack as well as the Eastern Shore. But 88.6% of all tourists visiting the Eastern Shore went to Chincoteague Island. Some of the other places that show up on the metrics, the town of Anancock at 4%, Greater Accomack County 3.8%, and Wachapreague 2.5%. One of the things that we're expecting for 2025 is continued increase and continued interest from a tourism standpoint. Next year will be the 100th offering or running, if you will, of the pony penning, which is a very popular event, and that's going to be a landmark event. But one of the other things that we should mention, of course, is space tourism. So Rocket Lab will be launching their first medium lift rocket, which is a really big rocket, makes it's enormous. The Electron, which is what they're launching now, is about just a little bit larger than a school bus. And this thing that they're going to be launching next year and also assembling on the Eastern Shore is much, much bigger, more the size of an Antares rocket. So you can go back to your workplaces and do a little bit of research on the size, but the Antares makes a really, really big sound. A lot of people like to come out and watch that. But the other thing that we're expecting Rocket Lab to do, as we had mentioned last year at this event, is that their launch cadence will be increasing, and that's going to do nothing but increase as NASA and the other, I guess NASA is going to be encouraging the smaller to medium lift companies to launch from Wallops as opposed to Cape Canaveral. Cape Canaveral is experiencing a choke point with their payload processing, and they just don't have the capacity to serve all of the customers that they can. And that's going to be good for all the localities here. So space tourism is, we're really banking a lot on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
Well, in Sussex County, you all know that we're the vacation capital, and I will tell you the numbers were down this year, and we actually feel that the numbers were down because we were so close to, from the standpoint of the pandemic, all the numbers were up. So we really think, even though the numbers were down this year, we actually feel that we are getting back to normal services in the county in terms of tourism. I will tell you that in Sussex County does not run the tourism department. It's run by the Convention and Visitors Bureau, which is funded through the accommodation tax, and then they trickle it down to the chambers. And we have 7 chambers in Sussex County. So they actually run the tourism in their areas. But overall, we do serve on the Convention and Visitors Bureau's board, and we have looked at the numbers. We've examined them even in '23, and we feel we're getting back to pre-pandemic numbers. So we think that's going to be our normal.
And Bill, I don't know how you expect to increase the tourism numbers when people like Sussex County so much who vacation there, they just stay. They just move there.
They do.
Right? That's gotta, you're cannibalizing your tourism business when you build them houses.
No, we agree with
I'm
you
just
on that.
teasing. No, go ahead, Danny.
Good. This is a great question. We've had, in Somerset County, it's different across the panel, as you've already heard. In Somerset County, we do have a Somerset County Tourism Department ran by Clint Sterling, the director. And so I have seen in like the last probably 3 or 4 years more collaboration between economic development and tourism. I think that's why in some departments it's joined and some it's different. In Somerset County, Clint wears a lot of hats, and so he has the golf course, the Great Hope Golf Course that's there. We actually had our meeting on Wednesday of this week, our year-end wrap-up meeting. So Clint gave a presentation, and he was telling me, and I think it was like 2019, I think there was, it was like $300,000 in revenue at the golf course. And just this year, they're projected to be at $1 million. So it's tripled in like 5 years from where it was. So it's just I'm not going to get into his arena there, but it's just the way they have managed that. They tried to entice Dave to come down a little bit more and play golf. I think it's worked. So thank you, Dave. And but anyway, so that's on the golf. The Chambers of Commerce do a lot of our events down there. They do the National Hard Crab Derby. They J. Miller Tall's Crab and Clam Bake. And then we have some of the other nonprofits that do some of the other events. This last year, they had the Jazz Bluegrass event that was across at Summers Cove Marina. They are not coming back and doing that event. But if for those that follow social media, the High Tide Club, a nonprofit group in Crisfield, will be doing an event Memorial Day weekend, and it's going to piggyback. How many remember the Tangier Sound Country Music Festival? Okay, all right. Wow, I am old. So anyway,
that means you've got a new audience that's energized and eager to learn.
Got a brand new audience. So anyway, Tangier Sound, it's going to be the Tangier Sound Music Festival, and so that's going to be coming. We need more events in Crisfield and Somerset County, but overall, a quick answer is our numbers were actually up this year by about 10%, and I think some of that came from Sussex County.
So Dorchester County's Office of Tourism is separate from Economic Development, but we do work closely. Some of the numbers, I think, are delayed coming in from this year, we have seen a slight gain in occupancy tax, so that's good. Holly Gilpin is the director, and she's done a fantastic job. This year, she took an initiative to partner with other counties and municipalities, and as well as other states. So she partnered with New York on an initiative to make kind of like some marketing. I think there was like a rack card on the Underground Railroad, and it focused on Tubman. So Tubman was born in Maryland, died in New York. The marketing piece is actually in 2 national Tubman parks, as well as both visitor centers. It just kind of went out a couple months ago, but they're already starting to see visitors from New York and visitors in Maryland showing up in New York. So that's pretty cool. And again, like the Waterfowl Festival, the ice festivals with our neighboring counties and municipalities, visitors don't know where county lines are, right? So I think, and she believes as well, when we partner, we all can, benefit from it. We have worked with PTV, and we're going to have a national, it's kind of like a commercial that's going to go out, and it'll expand our reach to the nation. It'll be part of the Dennis Quaid Show, so we're kind of excited about that. And we've also renewed our Ironman contract. So sports tourism is a big deal in Dorchester as well. Holly gave me a couple demographics that I was a little surprised about, but our visitors are typically 55 and up. We are gaining a little bit of ground with the millennials, and our busiest days are actually Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, which really surprised me because Friday nights downtown seem pretty busy, but I don't know. She's the expert, so overall we're seeing gains, which is great, and like I said, I think a lot of that's coming through different types of partnerships.
Thank you. Melanie?
Let's pass this down. No, it's perfect. So partnerships, and that's something that is key, and it's great to have us all represented up here, and we are the Office of Tourism and Economic Development. We also work closely with our Parks and Recreation Department and Ocean City. We're the only county in the state of Maryland that has 2 DMOs, which is our Destination Marketing Organization. So Ocean City obviously is the biggest driver. It's that hook. We are tourism, that's our economy. Tourism, commercial fishing, and then agriculture, but really tourism is our driver. So what we do is we work a lot with Ocean City on a variety of different events and activities to then draw people down into the county. So for example, the Ocean City Bike Fest, we do a Cruise in the Coast event where we have spots throughout not only Worcester County, but then we actually work with Somerset County and Wicomico County. So again, there's those regional partnerships. The All-American Road Program, that's coming all the way from Chesapeake City to Pocomoke City, so we've been working with a consortia on that. That's a federal designation of a national byway, so that's huge for our Eastern Shore for that. In addition to the bikeways, the waterways, again, partnering with our adjacent counties and our adjacent states. So I think partnering is key, and as Susan said, the visitors don't know county lines, and often they don't know state lines. So I think it's really important for us to work collaboratively and what's in the best interest of the visitor to give them that quality experience. In terms of 23 to 24, we had an interesting summer because July had 5 weekends last year. So our numbers were pretty inflated last year. And as Bill was saying, those pre-pandemic numbers have come back in full force. And so last year to this year, we were pretty flat when it comes to our core season, but our shoulder weekends and our shoulder months have been really, really strong. And we attribute that to the building of the events. If anybody's heard Oceans Calling, Country Calling, and then there's going to be another large-scale national act concert that's going to be this spring. So our tourism department in Ocean City has really been moving things around very strategically to make sure that we're filling rooms, we're increasing our average daily rate, occupancy. The economic impact of these events has been absolutely tremendous. I mean, we're seeing double-digit increases year over year in September and October from when pre and post these large-scale events. So it's exciting. Right now, as we were saying, the tourism economics report is usually about 6 months to a year behind sometimes. So we look at room tax. We can get that quickly year over year. We can look at food and beverage year over year pretty quickly. But when it comes to the other tourism tax codes, retail, transportation, and things of that nature. But we can kind of estimate based off of room tax. So that's kind of a great indicator. But as I mentioned, being able to expand those events into the county has really helped us. Like right now, we have our Winterfest of Lights going on in Ocean City. So we're promoting all of the activities going on in each of our towns, Berlin, Snow Hill, and Wicomico. And our towns have really stepped up. They have become great economic generators in and of themselves. So we work very closely with our towns. We have a monthly meeting and discussion. We call it Town Talks with our local chambers of commerce, with our town economic development directors. So it's great communication, great partnership, and we're just continuing to see those shoulder months grow. But I'll take your midweek business because historically, midweek business, even in our core season, has not been as strong as we'd like it to see. We'd also like to see people stay longer, come back, and that's why we offer those assets in the county. Our outdoor recreation has been such a great asset for us through the pandemic. People are still looking for that outdoor recreation, and we're getting ready to engage with a destination assessment with some of our partners that are working on the Chesapeake Bay passenger ferry. A secondary study of that is looking at some of the other counties and regions that hit the Chesapeake Bay, with us having the Wicomico River. So we're going to really do a deep dive into the Wicomico River, the state park and forest, and see how we can really generate additional assets there that we can draw more visitors. So, because Aztec Island, I think people know about the ponies, so we use the ponies a lot, so they're a big draw. But in fact, and then I'll wrap up, we had a group of about 15 German and Swiss group tour operators 2 weeks ago. So we hosted them in Ocean City. We gave them lunch at Harborside. We showed them our commercial fishing harbor. We took them to Aztec Island, and then they ended up in Berlin. So we're getting international excitement about our destination, and it's just, we just keep going. So thank you.
Thank you. A lot of exciting updates. And Mr. Ryan, you asked to go last.
Do we have a timer for some of these guys? Our tourism and visitors are handled by a separate department, so I take zero credit for this. Thanks, Aaron. Now they put me on a timer. Wait a minute, what about these guys? And these are our tourism department. These are some of the hardest working people you're going to meet, and some of the most innovative. So our tourism and visitors are events oriented. So everything from the Good Beer Festival, partnering with the City of Salisbury for the Folk Festival, the wrestling tournaments and basketball tournaments and softball tournaments, and I think they had a pickleball tournament this past year. So 2023 was about a $55–60 million economic impact for those 60 events the tourism office runs. This past year, they estimated about 70 million, so a little bit higher, and that's purely due to the hard work and the innovation of that staff, which again I take zero credit. It's just super good people to work with. So, room tax revenue, Mel mentioned, is up marginally, maybe about 1% or so. So pretty consistent, maybe up a little bit over 23.
Very good, thank you. And I think that question is important, right? Because especially living in this region, for those of us who do live and work in this region, we recognize what the major tourism drivers are, right? We know that we've got these great natural resources and we've got these amenities that people want to leverage. But when you think about special events, when you think about space tourism, aquaculture and agritourism, you talk about historic tourism in Dorchester County, it really is a great place to travel, a great place to visit, and we appreciate all of the collaboration. That was what I took away from all of your answers. 20 minutes in collaboration is what I got, but truly it's the common thread in every county that's represented today, is we all work together, and a rising tide lifts all ships. So we're going to do specific questions now, and we're going to try to keep our responses to about 2 minutes each, because I'm going to ask you a very targeted question for each county that you represent, and then if we have time, we may be able to get to an audience question or two. Okay? So let's go alphabetical order. That puts you first, Lee. How's that? For Accomack County, Virginia specifically, what results have you seen from the Accomack Economic Development Investment Program adopted in 2020? And then the same question regarding the Accomack Enterprise and Opportunity Zones that were also established. How is that coming to fruition? What are you seeing?
Sure. So we're actually seeing mixed results. The EDIP, or the Economic Development Incentive Program, no one has been able to take advantage of that yet, unfortunately. by an eligible prospect. So we've had folks and we've had companies try to apply for that, but they just couldn't meet some of the minimum thresholds for job creation, capital investment, are really the two primary variables that go into that. With regards to the Opportunity Zone, that's a federal program, so we really just we direct those folks to speak with their CPAs, their accountants, and their attorneys to guide them through that process. But we don't track that. Maybe we should start doing that. But really, we're kind of hands off when it comes to the Opportunity Zone because it's not a local program.
So, and that makes perfect sense. With one program being local and one being federal, there's obvious restrictions to the federal, right, to tweak and respond and adapt. But locally, with the mixed results you're seeing, has there been some consideration of maybe reevaluating those thresholds and those metrics to see if there's missed opportunity?
The program's only almost 5 years old at this point, and I think that you're going to find that most economic development incentives are going to be based off of that. So I see us sticking to that. And what that's going to speak to is that it's actually going to raise the quality of the prospects that we get. We do get some companies that they ask for the standards to be lowered, but I don't see how we could lower that without kind of reducing the quality of the prospect. And we are always looking for high quality prospects to locate in Accomack. I think that one of the other things that factors into that is that we haven't had a full-time staff person dedicated to economic development. So we're a small rural locality in Virginia, and we all wear many hats. I myself am, my role as the Deputy County Administrator for Community and Economic Development, I wear multiple hats, but I divide that into two basic categories. The regulatory, which we absolutely have to do, and then also the strategic, which includes the economic development, the strategic planning, and the comprehensive planning. And we have to pay attention to the regulatory, and going off of what Bill Pfaff was saying earlier, we're also going to be looking at ways to tweak our regulations to hopefully generate some more prospects. But we're staffing up, which is really good. Just last month, I actually hired an administrative assistant. I have 3, but the third one that I just hired, I'm going to be tasking her mostly with economic development tasks. So hopefully we'll have we'll be reaping some benefits from that.
Thank you. And the reason I asked that follow-up is because sometimes it's easy to assume that these are just arbitrary benchmarks that are set, right? But there's a lot of thought and deliberation that goes on behind that. So thank you very much. Next up is going to be Dorchester County. So how have the cannabis production facilities in Cambridge and Hurlock contributed to Dorchester's economy?
So I'm going to start with jobs. Calta has about 137 employees at their Cambridge location. Vireo and Hurlock has 60 to 70, and our dispensary has 26. The hourly jobs range from about $19 to $22 an hour, and of course the salary is much higher. These jobs come with benefits. There's all sorts of jobs that include retail, HR, compliance, security, plant care and horticulture. And there's a lot of room for growth in all of these companies to grow. The next thing I would say is capital investment. Calta has put in nearly $30 million since they've come. It's actually 29.6, and I expect that to grow in the next year, as well as the other locations in the county. We have adaptive reuse and repurposing of buildings. Where Calta is, it used to be the Phillips canning area, and there was a fire, I believe it was in the 90s, and that area of Cambridge kind of was like forgotten. I used to work behind it, and there's a little road to get into town kind of close to where the Wawa is, and it was kind of dangerous back there. So it's nice that Calta is redeveloping that area, and hopefully soon we'll have a Rails to Trails that will also be going through to hit the Woods Road area. And lastly, we have tax revenue, right? So this year, Maryland estimates we'll have $944 million in sales. The counties get a small portion of that in tax revenue. So, between the jobs, the revenue and taxes coming in, the ancillary jobs, I'm not sure if I talked about that, it's a big deal. And I expect it to continue to grow.
Very good. So investment in infrastructure, vested interest in terms of business capital, job production. Very good. Thank you for sharing. Somerset County. Danny, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. How many businesses have been able to start or expand through the Somerset County revolving loan program?
I said I was ready. I lied.
It's like I've got the exact number.
Yeah. I got it. Because I can't remember all these, man, so I had to write these down. Plus I can't see. So anyway, on our businesses in our revolving loan fund, so first of all, I want to give a shout out to John and Jess at Beacon, big employers and employers that we utilize. They're our go-to. And I have only met this gentleman once. That was Wednesday of this week at our meeting. And so we also partner with SBDC. Scott Hines. Scott, raise your hand for those that don't care. There he is. He's our new SBDC director. Right, John? Cool. And then also Maryland Capital Enterprise. Anybody here from Maryland Capital Enterprise? Maurice Ames? Nobody's here. So there are 3 of our go-to for like startups on our business side. So here are some of the names, and this is just this last year, Zach. So we had John's Barbecue, we had Hometown Subs, we had Sunset Cafe, we had a tattoo shop, we had Mango Mama, we had Chesapeake Barbecue, the boxing down on Main Street in Princess Anne. We had a tag and title shop. We had the Amish Country Market. We've got 2 that are coming soon as a Mexican restaurant in Princess Anne, and also like a homemade goods consignment shop. And then we had Sisters with a Twist, a bakery that's open. And that's just, now some of them have closed. They opened, about 3 or 4 have opened and they closed. And that has to do with that traffic business. So that's the part, that's why we really need numbers, and we really encourage, look, that's their hard-earned money. These are entrepreneurs that are investing not only on loans and stuff, but they're putting their hard-earned assets. So anyway, we want to make sure they do right with their money, right? So that's why it's important that Scott's on board, because he will help them with their business plan, and we don't want to see them fail. So anyway, that's some of the things that we're doing.
Very good. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
Kent County, Delaware. How's the economic partnership concept different as compared to traditional economic development offices? So what advantages are you seeing through really embracing that concept of partnership?
I'm going to use 2 words. Freedom, first word. Second word, money. So we're a public-private partnership, and we're made up of state, county, municipalities all contribute, and then private companies contribute. So what that has given us is the ability to grow our budget a lot larger than we could have had we been in county government. So that's the first significant difference. The second difference is we are not under the jurisdiction and do not have to follow all the rules and regs as if we were in county government. So it's an excellent, excellent model. Our board is made up of public and private officials. And we've been able since 2018, to locate 50 really good projects. We have a lot of projects open. It has allowed us the autonomy to not be in government.
You had most of us with freedom and money, so I like that. I like that opening line. All right, that's a hard act to follow, Bill, but we're going to continue in Delaware, Sussex County. How has the Size Up business tool helped existing and potential businesses succeed in Sussex County? Your county has several other interactive tools on your website. How have they helped to expand the county's economy?
Well, as many of you may know or may not know, our office in Sussex County is made up of one person, and that's myself. So what I had...
Freedom over there. No freedom.
No freedom, right? So what I had to do was use our website and implant in our website research tools that businesses, both existing and potential, can use to do their market research. And Size Up is one of them. What that does is it allows both an existing and potential business to understand their customer, understand what the customer's spending their money on, how much they can potentially expect that customer in a specific area to figure out how much they're going to benefit from. The other thing is understanding both direct and indirect competitors, which is very important, understanding where your supply chain connections are within that area. So if you're looking at setting up a business in Delmar, Delaware, you can actually hone in on Delmar, Delaware, understanding your direct and indirect customer, understanding where your supply chains are, and understand your primary and secondary area of where your customers are coming from and how much they're spending for your product. I will tell you, when we implemented this software just about 5 years ago, when I shared it with our council and got their good housekeeping seal of approval, I.G. Burton happened to be on the council at the time, and he said, wow. He said, this is what the big players are using, and we're able to give this to businesses, both existing and potential, to make informed decisions, to make sure that they are at least positioned for success. Again, success is more than this research. It's just a piece of the pie at the end of the day, but it actually positions you as a business owner in a much better manner to be successful. We also have another tool on our website called Zoom Prospector. You know, a lot of times when businesses are looking about locating in your area, the first thing they're going to look for is, you know, what potential opportunities are there in terms of lease property, if they want to buy a piece of property, and that they can actually do from our website as well. And I will tell you, Size Up, we've had on our website for about 5 years. The state last year implemented our product, Size Up. So now it's a statewide product. So also from a Zoom Prospector standpoint, I know Kent County has it and also the state has it. But again, it's really for the consumer. At the end of the day, they can make informed decisions. And again, it's only as good as the information that's put into the system, Zoom Prospector. And actually, from a realtor standpoint, I'm sure we have realtors here today, as you're listing commercial properties, actually we feed off of your input, and actually it's real-time information.
Thank you, Bill. And as a one-man team, we talked about adaptability early on, right? And it being something that all of your organizations have to be proficient in. So leveraging online tools and digital platforms as a way to streamline processes is very helpful to the business community. So thank you, Bill. Wicomico County is up next, Mr. Ryan. So I'm going to ask you, how effective has the SWED AG grant program been? Do you have specific success stories? And is the need for housing and the increase in solar farms in conflict with this program?
AG is ag.
Ag, I know.
Agriculture.
I was going to let you say it.
Just to make sure we're on the same page.
We are.
Has zero impact on housing or solar farms. This is a small grant program. The state of Maryland, through the it's an acronym called MARBITCO. It's the Maryland Agriculture and Resource Industry-Based Development Corporation. Came out with a program to offer grants to startup companies in the ag field.
Steve McHenry would be proud that you knew that acronym.
Steve is a good friend and a hardworking guy too. But to participate in that program, the local county has to participate. And I just think no matter how big or how small you are, if the state's offering a program, we ought to be able to participate. So we came out with that program. I thank County Executive here with us today and her team for allowing us to do that. And the County Council, we opened it up in the spring. We have one grant so far. It's Elf Microgreens. They bought a shipping container. They're growing microgreens in a vertically integrated way and selling them fresh to area restaurants. So it's a $2,000 grant. It's not going to move the needle on solar farms or housing. It's not going to obstruct that, put it that way. And we have another one in process. So, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, just to brag a little bit on Wicomico County, it is the largest county in the state in terms of gross sales receipts for agricultural products. So that SWED Ag Grant program, while we're still working on getting people introduced to it and getting those applications in, I think it's really going to be instrumental to helping to continue to support the growth of our industry. And as an agricultural guy, I appreciate it, Dave. So thank you. Worcester County, we're going to jump over to Melanie. Many of your county's incentives seem to align very closely with state programs. So do you have any specific incentive programs that are unique to the county that you wanted to talk about with the group today?
Yeah, and I think, you know, getting people to apply for some of these things too is critical. So when we did our rebranding effort with Maryland's Coast, we aligned, you know, tourism, economic development, our sports tourism, and also our work. So Work Maryland's Coast is our Coastal Careers Job Board. So this was a local product that we developed in coordination with our workforce development specialist, who's here, Miss Nancy Schwendeman. And so we do utilize that to help our businesses have a platform to promote the jobs that they have available. And we're also starting to connect that with our Maryland Workforce Exchange. So again, that's just something that's a little value add for our local businesses. But in terms of financial incentives, we have a couple of unique programs in Worcester County. Because we do have the only casino on the Eastern Shore, we have the Video Lottery Terminal Fund, which is the VLT program, and those are low interest loans that are available for small minority women-owned businesses that are within the vicinity of the casino, and actually it's been expanded to the entire county. So we've had businesses such as Plaque That, Hoop Tea, Kite Loft take advantage of those. We have been trying to promote those a little bit more. We actually ran a program with a grant we got from PNC to run a digital campaign to promote that program as well as some of the other ones I'm going to talk about. We also have what we call our machine manufacturing tax exemption. And so this is again unique to Worcester County, where we're offering a tax exemption for those companies that are looking at making a $10,000 investment in upgrades or new machines. Some of the companies that have taken advantage of that, Dolly's Candy with their candy manufacturing, Hardwire, Burley Oak, Candy Kitchen, Secrets, of course, with the distillery, Paul Jones Lumber. So we've seen a lot more interest in that. And again, we try to promote these and let people know that these are available in addition to the, you know, credits that are through Department of Commerce. And we do work with Mindy Burgoyne, as most of us do here on the shore, in terms of working with commerce. The one thing that I did want to also mention is our enterprise zones, and I know that a variety of us have those, but we do keep those up to date, making sure that those lines are looked at whenever it's time up for renewal. So we just recently updated Wicomico and Snow Hill, and working with our economic development departments to make sure those enterprise zones are updated and taken advantage of. And then finally, we have our arts and entertainment districts. So we have Snow Hill and Berlin that are part of the arts and entertainment district, and again, it's offering incentives and credits to those businesses that are either performing arts, they're selling their own art. One that most people know about in Berlin is Jeffrey Auxer, who's the glass blower. Again, a very popular business, very community oriented. So the arts are huge in Worcester County, and I think in the Eastern Shore in general, you know, working with our Art League of Ocean City, the Worcester County Arts Council, and really trying to get, you know, you may have seen many of the murals that are out there. So I think the more that we can encourage those arts and entertainment districts, as well as maybe even trying to create some additional ones possibly in Wicomico City. I know we've talked about that. So again, we do have these local programs, but we also take advantage of our state programs as well. So thank you.
Yeah, and it sounds like just with the examples you've given, they're being broadly utilized. So appreciate you sharing some of that with us. We do have time for maybe one audience question. We will have to limit some of the responses to make sure that we keep on schedule. But do we have anyone in the audience that has a burning question that they wanted to share? That's perfect. Oh, okay, Aaron. Go ahead. Just yell it to the group. You're close enough up front.
Yeah. So, Bill, a few years back, you were flexing on the fact that you had 11,000 new building permits, right? This is really for everybody, but what does that look like today when it comes to new building permits? What does that growth look like?
Yeah, so I'll restate it for Aaron. Good question. 11,000 building permits was a statistic that Bill shared one year at this event in Sussex County. And Aaron just posed the question, what do building permit applications look like? And we can open that up just to share sort of how things are trending in the region.
Building applications in Sussex County hasn't changed. We're still rolling. Everybody wants to move to Sussex County. They're retiring there. So, there's no question. We just had an election. And from a county council standpoint, we're going to have 3 new council members, 3 out of 5. And we don't know where the future's going to be. But at the end of the day, from a building permits, we're still rolling. It hasn't changed.
Look, I still contest what I said earlier. Building up, tourism down, Bill. You got to be careful. Got to be careful. No, I'm just kidding. Anybody else, would you want to share? Has there been any significant changes in the trend in your respective county in terms of new building?
Yeah, so it's and the last question there was about, what, so I can say it now. Our Elm Street project for the town of Princess Anne, we're partnering with the town. Elm Street runs parallel to Route 13, so it connects Mount Vernon Road with UMS Boulevard. So you're going to be a total redevelopment there. I think Brett's in the room somewhere. I think I saw him. Yep. So anyway, they're working on that with the town and State Highway. So that's going to be a significant change in the landscape in Princess Anne.
Thank you. Okay, and in the interest of time, I would just like to ask everybody to please give our panelists a round of applause. They've done a great job. I think many of you will be sticking around at least for a few hours this morning. So if you do have specific questions, I apologize for putting you on the spot up here. If you have specific questions, feel free to reach out to any one of these folks. They're just as engaging on the floor as they are on the stage. So thanks for being here. Appreciate it.